Hi everyone, it's Adam from Fish Tanks, and in today's video I'm going to do a mini little vlog of my journey to Wirral Aquatics to the Geordie Scaper Workshop, so let's get into this. Safe to say the weather is not good. There is a literal storm going on today. Update on the travel, the building has collapsed in the main road by my house, so I've had to walk to the edge of the city centre where Jay, Aquatics and AH Aquatics are coming to pick me up. Thank you guys.
And I've been aquascaping for seriously now since around for about 20 years. And before that I was into ponds, koi fish, that sort of thing. And I just got more money in the hobby and decided to try and turn that hobby into a job. Hence YouTube, do workshops, and I do client scapes as well.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm from Madison, Georgia, where Seachem's headquartered. Any of you guys use Seachem stuff in the tanks? You have quite a few heads, okay.
This workshop was the intermediate one, and it was attended by Caitlin from Seachem, and it was great to have her knowledge on the products used on the scape, as well as other things Seachem related, so the audience had a great time questioning her on all the different things involved with this workshop.
So Old School Way was developed by Takashi Amano. Anyone heard of Takashi Amano? He's the godfather of aquascaping. I'm a huge fan, and once I discovered Takashi Amano, I was into Japanese gardens and all that kind of things anyway, so once I come across Takashi Amano, I was just obsessed with that style of aquascaping, which is generally known as nature aquarium, or when you see the Irigumi, the rock scapes, that sort of thing. So what he used to do is this, so we divide, so we put the sand in the front and the soil at the back.
So at this point of the workshop, Geordie Scaper was introducing us to a method that Takashi Amano developed, and it's having a piece of cardboard to separate your aquasoil at the back and then having your substrate at the front. And it's a really cool, seamless way of blending your substrate together, but also making sure that you have that effect as well.
So if you do this sort of technique, just push it back towards the soil, slowly take it out. Way. You've done that before. Any questions you've got, just ask anytime.
Do you want to know why you separated it first? If you're just going to sweep it across?
I'll just sweep it across a little bit to where the sand meets the stone, is because once it's got the divide, I can use a stone and just place them there, and it stops the soil spilling over.
What was really good about the workshop is that Geordie Mark allowed the audience to interact with him and ask questions when need be. So for example here, an audience member was asking why has he mixed the sand together after dividing it, and he was talking about the fact that it makes it easier to put rocks in between and to be able to create a border and a barrier to stop the aquasoil spilling over.
He uses, I think it's redwood, is that right? So redwood or fingerwood or branchwood or spiderwood, it's got loads of different names. So this is what I'm going to use today to create. What I'm able to do when I'm using the wood is creating something that's pleasing to the eye, natural looking. And the way you do that is avoid like placing it bang in the middle, because it's always so tempting to place it in the middle. When you place your first piece of wood slightly left or slightly right, there's no like major way you have to go.
I think that was a really good piece of advice from Geordie there, speaking about the fact that if you put a piece of wood dead centre, it's a natural thing that we all do. However, it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing as much as if it were slightly off to the right or off to the left.
Pillar rock.
Great
There's
pillar rock.
There's a few random names.
It's generally known as mini landscape rock or series stone. This is my favourite stone because it's got so much detail in it. I love working with this stone.
So what Geordie was doing in this part was adding cerulean stone, creating that barrier and wall in between the soil and the sand to make sure that the soil doesn't leach over into the front of the aquascape. He then began to add some scatter gravel in between the cerulean stone, around the edges of the rocks, creating that detail and texture that the scape required. It was at this point where Geordie was explaining that he's going to be gluing the hardscape together using Moss UK glue and cotton wool pads to make sure that is held together, no wood floats up, and the scape is in check.
Time reacts, and you've got to be careful because when it reacts, it smooths and it's quite. Watch your head over the tank. I think I'm permanently like doing it. And just squeeze that into place. Just make sure you put plenty on the water and the stove. I'm going to use range of plants. We've got the basic, we're going to do mid-ground, foregrounds, and fights on the top. So it's going to be a nice nature aquarium style tank, which is low tech, so we'll not need CO2 with this one. If you're going to come to the advanced workshop, that one we're going to use a big range of plants where it's best to use CO2. So first workshop, fine for no CO2. This one, no CO2 injection. All easier, great plants. Yeah.
So as you can see, it was this part of the workshop where the planting was beginning, and Geordie was explaining to the audience that when you get a plant, you get multiple plants in one pot, so you can separate it, get more planted around, and you get more value for your money's worth. The great part about the workshop is that Geordie was explaining to the audience that there's different types of plants and the effects that they give the scape, and the way that they complement the tank as well, and the reasoning why he chooses these plants for the scape. So that was a really good insight for people who aren't too aware on how to utilise your aquarium plants for your scape.
It's best to plan from the start that all plant as heavy as possible. That's excellent for taking in excess nutrients, preventing algae issues. So for the first 2 weeks we were doing Aquascaping. It was much bit of a chore. You're best off doing a heavy water change, usually about 50% most days of the week. And that'll get rid of the excess nutrients, but more heavy plant that'll help with that as well. Because that's like the early period when you have any issues with that aquarium. So you just got to be patient because it goes through an ugly stage. Most plants do. It's like when you first get your garden done, it looks nothing like it's going to be like in 5 years' time. So patience is key. It's hard to have patience though.
Like I said previously, Geordie was speaking about different plants and their role within the tank, and how some plants will benefit in certain areas of the tank, shaded or in bright light, and how they feed from the water column or their root system.
The crimps, now any species we can't get, we'll just use that. Remember I was saying about shaded areas? So that's going to be shaded eventually with pillar plants. So it's ideal for our uses. But also, because we're using predominantly stems, we can put the light further back as well.
So right here, like previously, Geordie's using the Moss UK branded glue, and he's using this to attach plants to the hardscape. Another great thing Geordie mentioned is that some plants will appear different depending if they're under CO2 or not.
Bush super red is one of the plants which stays red, doesn't go intense red without CO2 injection. So that's why I chose that. Aspect ratio, I'm going to take it just off centre, so this looks ideal, this area here. Your eye's going to be drawn out a bit red, not bang in the middle, just off centre. So it's a nice little focal plant with it being the red. I say it doesn't go as intense red, it keeps a little red hue without CO2. If you've got properly like this, you'll have a bit redder as well. Add it nice and deep. Aquarium, nature aquarium, it's got the best of both worlds, so I'll try and keep a nice open swimming space, which I was saying to someone earlier that I tend to use small school and fish, so in here I'll use Ember terras, green name terras, all the smaller species of fish, and they've got plenty of swim in the front, but also plenty of hiding space if I want to get out with it as well. So, first 2 weeks, if you do a big water change, it's really beneficial if you see any hassle in the short term. So 50% water change every day. You don't have to do anything else, just the actual water change. And then just phase that down till you're doing your regular once a week.
And here we are with the finished tank. Absolutely stunning. Nice open swimming area in the front. The backlight on the back with the light on top. So much detail and layering between the plants at the front and the back and the epiphytes. Really like this scape. That was a great workshop by Geordie Scaper. That was the intermediate session. The next one is the advanced. I think that's in November, so make sure to check that one out. And also make sure to check out Aquatics and AH Aquatics. Scapegoats. See you later.